Alt Talk Radio.
And here we go.
All right, welcome to that Nerd Show. That's right, it's Wednesday, so obviously you should be listening to us right about now and drinking beer, because we are. And we want to welcome everybody this week, and one of your hosts, Marcus Blake, with me as always is Brendan.
You better be drinking this weekend. It's St. Patrick's Day.
Well, that's a given. And, of course, now one of our a new regular, we have TacheT, who's still cool enough to have a nickname, and we don't.
I am.
You mean we haven't run her off yet? Wow.
No, and I have Jägermeister. Ooh.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go.
More for you, because I don't drink that shit.
Well, I don't usually, but, it's all I have right now.
Well, I think that's going to be really interesting, what we're drinking and all that, considering we are talking about DC Comics. So we want to apologize early if we offend anybody, because we probably are going to offend you with some of the things we will say. Anyway, so.
Yeah. Decidedly crappy comics? What? Oh. Well,
anyway, getting into a new week, there is some exciting news, things that we must talk about before we get to our theme tonight. And if anybody looked at our website, yes, we are talking about the Justice League movie, the future of DC Comics, and all the exciting news that's happening with them, which there really are some good things that are happening, and we'll get into that later. But the first news, and I was so happy that we got to post this yesterday. I was so extremely happy. And then I remembered, oh, wait, I don't actually get to watch it today. But anyway, the exciting news, Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman have both signed on for 2 more seasons of Sherlock on the BBC.
Yay!
Yay!
Now, we might not see them for 4 more years, but we will see them.
Right. Eventually, we will have more.
So we're very much looking forward to. Actually, when I read that last night, I was actually had just finished watching Scandal in Bulgaria. So,
my favorite one.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Irene Adler is a dominatrix. Anyway, I'll return to from my fantasy so we can get back to our show tonight.
Chicken may be appreciated.
But anyway, yeah, so that was announced, and we are very excited. The latest that we have heard is we won't actually get Season 3 until beginning of 2014. Well, here in America, they're actually shooting this summer, and they will have they'll have episodes on the BBC probably later in the winter.
Probably November.
And if everybody's extremely, extremely lucky, I'll just download them from someplace and put them on our website early.
And it'd be kind of cool to watch them all, like, the day that The Hobbit comes out, and then go watch them both in The Hobbit, because Benedict Cumberbatch is the Necromancer and the voice of Smaug, and, of course, Martin Freeman is playing young Bilbo, so.
Well, I did hear a comment, too, that, while, Benedict Cumberbatch wants to do as much Sherlock as he can, but, he's, like, apologizing, I have to go and shoot more scenes for The Hobbit. We're like, yeah, well, all right. I mean, that is actually a good excuse.
Yeah, it's like, well, all right. But how dare you go to Star Trek? Wait, what? Never mind.
And more exciting news for you Kick-Ass fans. The full-length trailer for Kick-Ass 2 is now online. It's actually on our website, so you can go check that out. And if you were a fan of the first movie, like I was, I think this one's just going to be totally fantastic, and I think Jim Carrey's probably just going to steal the show a little bit.
Yeah. And then of course we put the trailer for Knights of Badassdom on the Facebook feed, and there's a little controversy going on with that right now because a different company bought it up and recut the original director's cut, and they chopped out like a whole hour of stuff or 40 minutes worth of stuff, and people are trying to fight to get the original cut back together before it gets released. So who knows when we'll get to see it and if it's going to be a good cut or not. But it looks really, really funny. I'm sorry, but just to see Peter Dinklage dressed up in chainmail and LARP gear, and swinging foam swords. Oh God, that's going to be hysterical.
Definitely could be worth it. Yes.
Yeah.
And Steve Zahn accidentally summoning a succubus from hell.
And talking about Lost Girl. No.
Well, it does have Summer Glau in it. That's pretty close.
That succubus, Summer Glau, you had me at that. Well, another interesting thing that's actually happening, they just got announced that Carl Urban will actually be the main character in a new pilot by J.J. Abrams on Fox called Human. I think they're slated to come out like mid-next year or something. But it's basically being called an action-packed buddy cop show set in the near future when all LAPD officers are partnered with highly evolved human-like androids. So,
Data worked because he was different. Just gonna put that out there. Just gonna throw that out there.
There's two things about this show. A, it's good that Carl Urban's going to be in this show. I mean, we all like Carl Urban. He makes a great bones. And two, if it sucks, it'll probably be, canceled early because it's Fox. If it's good, well, it'll just be canceled early because it's Fox.
And recently, going with J.J. Abrams, TV record, it's probably going to get canceled early.
Yeah.
Is he wanting to do a TV show?
Now,
he's done a lot of TV shows, and they really haven't gone over that great.
Actually, the only TV shows that have really lasted in his, actually there's three: Fringe, Alias, and Lost.
Yeah, and but I mean, he did that one with the husband and wife spy thing that just didn't work, and he's had a couple real serious flameouts on television. So we'll see. I mean.
Well,
who knows?
It sounds interesting. I'm sure it'll be actually, like I said, pretty good, and we won't have to invest that much time in it because it'll probably be canceled early.
It almost sounds like instead of Alienation, AI Nation.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, Brendan, you're not the first to make that comment based on that news story. So it looks like great minds are thinking alike. Okay, speaking of canceled programs, I have two words for ABC. Fuck you. You're gonna cancel Zero after 3 episodes when they weren't even trying to get a second season. What the hell is wrong with you?
I'll give you 3 letters. A, B, C. And I'm gonna stop right there.
I think you summed that one up.
I'm sorry. Have we not gotten our fill of Grey's Anatomy?
ABC is falling behind Fox. That's all I've got to tell you. NBC is just a lost cause. They're just like, wait, Law and Order's still relevant, right? But ABC is falling behind Fox. It's basically CBS and Fox if you want to watch anything these days.
Well, and here, I don't
ABC
understand.
They give a damn about his Castle. And that's just because of Nathan Fillion and Stanakotic's hot.
Exactly. But at the same time, you're basically having a mini-series of 10 to 13 episodes. They're going to wrap everything up in the end, okay? And I'm not taking away from Last Resort. I'm glad they tied it all up in the end, even though it looked rushed and whatever. But you're not going to take the time to do that with a Conspiracy Da Vinci Code type of series. Sure, it's not Anthony Edwards' best work, but it was an interesting story. Let's see how it ends and see where you go with it. And we haven't even heard...
They should have known this was coming, though, because they did almost nothing to advertise this. If we weren't geeks and we weren't on the Internet all the time and we didn't have a show to prepare for, I would have never known that this show existed. I never saw a single commercial for it. I never saw any, viral ad campaigns on the Internet. I never saw any conspiracy wall stuff like you do with your book on your website. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Shameless plug.
But I'm all about stuff with shameless promotion.
So, they never did any of that. And then they're surprised. They're like, "Oh, why didn't we have any ratings?" Well, because there's 315 million people in the country, and 350 14,995,000 didn't know the show was coming on or what it was about.
Well,
and the rest of you work for ABC.
Okay, so they screwed that up. Fine. All right, we get that. But why are you not going to have any plans to air the rest of the episodes? Seriously. Okay? You can't even put them on your website. You can't even throw it out on Netflix or something. You know, I mean, what is this? New Amsterdam all over?
Well, don't get me started on that one. I like that show a lot. Don't get me started on that. I like it a lot.
Well, so this is what I'm proposing on our show, because we have a show and we can. You know, it's like when CBS canceled Jericho and didn't quite understand how dedicated the fans were, and they kept sending in packs of peanuts to CBS. I think everybody should send in a clock to ABC.
Or a watch or
something that tells time. You know.
Hell, you know what? Just to be a jackass, I'm going to send them a room-sized sundial.
That's a great.
Made of granite.
Made of granite.
What are we going to do with this thing? I don't know. Just leave it in the lobby. It's a new piece.
Right. No. If you send a clock, you can put the message, time to pull your head out of your ass and bring back the show. So, and you know, and I'm sure they were, you know, they're trying to look at, well, you know, who's watching it live? Well, I'm sorry, but, you know, people do have things going on and, you know, DVR their programs like me.
Or watching on Hulu like me. Like, yeah. My job, I'm 4 to 5 nights of the week, I'm out on appointments with clients. So by the time I get home, all of your shows are over because we live in the central time zone and you have everything on an hour early. So I don't get to see this shit at night, so I watch it the next morning on Hulu. Right. And finally, at least Nielsen's starting to wake up, and they're going to measure broadband stuff along with their ratings. So, you know, we'll see what happens there. But I don't know, these people are ridiculous. They're you know, they're as bad as the music industry, still thinking that records, you know, gold records. Really? Yeah, don't even buy CDs anymore, dude.
Well, anyway, the last piece of news. Outside of gaming and everything that we do have to talk about, with all this news coming out about Star Wars, it does look like that the Clone Wars animated show is officially going to end. And
Sort of. Season 6 was already done. Well, it's not filmed or you know, however you produce a cartoon show, whatever that process is called. But even if it's not completed, all the stories are already done, and while they're not going to put them on in a show format, what I'm told is that the 5 story arcs that would have made up the 20-episode season, they're going to merge those 4 episodes together into a movie-type deal, and it's either going to be released on Disney XD, or they're going to do a direct download, or they're going to release them in a Blu-ray collection.
Right.
So we are going to get to see Season 6. It's just not going to be called Season 6.
Right. Well, but as, you know, the show as you officially know it, you know, it is coming to an end. And I'm glad that they're actually doing that. You know, it's important to wrap up your storylines, come to some conclusion, even though we all pretty much know what kind of happens, you know, during that 3-year period between Episode 2 and Episode 3, but... You know.
Well, the big storyline that I think has to be cleared up before Revenge of the Sith is what happened to Darth Maul, because at the end of his arc in this season, Palpatine kills Savage Opress but leaves Maul alive and says, "No, I have other plans for you." And personally, anybody who's familiar with the EU, I think Darth Maul becomes the first Emperor's hand. The Emperor believed in the rule of 2, but only to a point. He had the hands of the Emperor, he had the eyes of the Emperor, which were Force mystics that could see visions, and he had the ears of the Emperor, guys that were, you know, intelligence guys. So the hands of the Emperor were basically his assassins. And the most famous hand of the Emperor was Mara Jade, who ends up turning to the light side and becoming a Jedi and marrying Luke Skywalker. But my thinking is that Darth Maul is probably going to become the first hand of the Emperor and end up training Mara Jade.
Well, and that would be an interesting story arc. I mean, it really would be. And it's something that should be able to be explored through, you know, Disney media, so to speak.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we move on, do we have any quick gaming news?
We do. Another game announced for next generation console, Sniper Elite 3. It is not a exclusive to PS4. It'll be out for both PS4, PC, and Xbox, whatever the hell they're calling it. Let's see, was there anything else? Oh, there was a little bit of a teaser in God of War Ascension. There's a little puzzle that you can do in God of War Ascension in Chapter 14. And if you do the puzzle, the picture changes, and you see like this fire spreading over the earth on the picture, and it says, when the earth stops, the adventure begins. And there's kind of a double entendre, or almost a triple entendre in there. Number one, at the end of God of War 3, Kratos is dying, he's been stabbed, you get these like angelic visions, and then they flash back to reality, and there's a bloodstain but no Kratos' body. So, and basically all hell is breaking loose, and for all intents and purposes, the world has stopped. So that could be pointing towards, okay, at the end of 3, the adventure begins, we're going to reboot the series for PS4. The other joke is, well, when the PS4 comes out, the world's actually going to stop, because everybody's going to be playing games. So there's kind of a little triple entendre there. So basically they're teasing a God of War 4, or doing like they did with Killzone, instead of calling it Killzone 4, because they're going to the next generation, they're just calling it Killzone again. So God of War 4, maybe just call it God of War, next gen or whatever, but picking up at the end of that storyline of God of War 3. So that was a little interesting tidbit that they pulled out of Ascension. I don't think there was too much else going on this week. Last week was kind of busy. I don't see too much else going on, but of course I will dig a little deeper for tomorrow and bring some new stuff for tomorrow. But yeah, that's about it for tonight. Although, one last bit. Star Wars 1313, the platformer, it's going to take place on Coruscant. That looked really good. Looked like an Uncharted in Star Wars. It has been indefinitely postponed, and the reason why I believe that is because the game was so big that they were using all areas of LucasArts to work on it, not just LucasArts, the video game side. They were using Lucasfilm, they were using Skywalker Sound, they were using Industrial Light and Magic, and now those guys all have to go work on the trilogy and standalone movies. So, yeah, everybody's all pissed off because this game is getting indefinitely delayed. I'm not so pissed off about this because really, if you look back at all the best Star Wars games, they are not produced by LucasArts. They're published by LucasArts, but not produced. Knights of the Old Republic, BioWare. Knights of the Old Republic 2, Obsidian. Battlefront 1 and 2, Pandemic. The Rogue Squadron trilogy on N64 and GameCube, that was Factor 5. None of these games were done by LucasArts. The ones that were done by LucasArts, The Force Unleashed, well, let's be honest, they kind of sucked. So I'm really not this disappointed about it, and I'm really looking forward to them, bringing back a lot of these different titles, like the Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy series, the X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, the Rogue Squadron, Knights of the Old Republic, Battlefront. Let's farm all these really good titles that everybody wants a sequel to out to video game companies who know what the hell they're doing. Let LucasArts publish them, and then let's let the rest of Lucasfilm work on what they're supposed to work on, and that's, making up for the prequel trilogies with an awesome sequel trilogy.
Well, and
that's my 2 cents on the matter.
I would love to see a sequel to X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I still play the original version, the Windows 95 version that I bought in college on my computer. And it's still great graphics even now. So let's bring that back. Real quick, again, before we move on, we're sorry if we're taking too much time before we jump into Justice League, but there are things to cover. We need to let you know. It's kind of on the cusp of what we talk about here, and I know not everybody's a Steve Carell fan, but I did have a chance to go see an early screening of the incredible Burt Wonderstone. And I have to admit that while I thought it was going to be a completely ridiculous and stupid movie, it was a lot better than I thought. And yeah, I couldn't stop laughing throughout the entire film. Everybody was absolutely wonderful in it. I mean, Alan Arkin's always great in anything he does anyway. But and Jim Carrey literally was. I mean, he was kind of like that annoying Ace Ventura character, but not really. I guess if that makes sense. I mean, his character's supposed to be annoying, but it worked out very, very well, and the jokes and just everything about it. So I'm actually going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars and tell people, if you want a good afternoon comedy at the movie theater and everything, and let's face it, I mean, doing magic's kind of nerdy, isn't it?
No, not at all.
I heard that pause where everybody was really thinking about the answer. Should he say something? But no, I mean it's one of the better Steve Carell movies. It really is. I mean, it's not The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which it was an absolute riot. But even Olivia Wilde, it has this great comedic timing, and she has this great nerd, very quirky quality about her throughout the entire film that just makes it work. So it's definitely a movie to it's worth going to see in the movie theater. So just wanted to give a quick review on that and throw that out there. So anyway, okay, the Justice League. So have you guys all been keeping up with the news about the the Justice League movie and DC Comics and everything?
I have, yeah.
What about you, TacheT? Yeah.
Just a little, yeah.
Little
just
tidbits here and there. Well,
I'm not a big DC fan. I'm actually
I think we can all pretty much agree that we're not like huge DC comic fans on the show. And that's what I think is going to be interesting.
Marcus and I are fans of certain DC characters, but DC as a company generally leaves us, well, but that's Batman, Nightwing, big fans. Green Arrow, big fan.
This is what I think makes this a theme show interesting among us is, we could actually spend the next 40 minutes of the show just trashing everything that we hate, okay? But I'm going to...
But we're going to talk about the good things.
And his name is not Aquaman.
No.
Oh, my God, thank you. I agree.
No. All right, I do want to... First of all, for those that are not keeping up with the news, DC is starting to pull their head out of their ass, so to speak, and take a page from Disney and Marvel and we really need that great director that can just sort of be the godfather of everything, and we're going to put complete control in his hands, and he's going to make something good. And thus, that's what they've done with Christopher Nolan now, which, personally, I don't have a problem with that. There is not one thing that Christopher Nolan has done that I've absolutely hated. Okay, I don't know what's going on with my...
I don't know what happened there. Everything okay?
That? Oh.
We're going to blame it on Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, no. It's because we talk bad about DC Comics.
Run! Damn. I wasn't even trashing you. I was trying to praise you.
I'm so sorry.
But I mean, think about it. Is there anything that you guys absolutely hate that Christopher Nolan has done?
Hate? No. No, I mean,
no.
I didn't go see, well, he was Inception, right? He did Inception.
Yes.
Yes? Yeah, I didn't go see Inception, and you know why. But
yes, we know. Leo was
I haven't hated anything he's done. Memento was one of my favorite movies. Really enjoyed the Batman trilogy. So, no, I mean, I haven't hated anything he's done. I'm looking forward to the new Superman because I'm hoping that the story will be a little bit deeper than somebody gets kryptonite, Lois Lane saves Superman, somebody kidnaps Lois Lane, Superman saves Lois Lane, hey, everybody wins, yay! So and generally that happens when you put General Zod in because, finally he's got an equal to fight against him. So I'm hopeful for Superman.
If Bryan Singer was doing it again, sure, that's what the story would be.
Well, exactly. Well, and in 4 of the 5 Christopher Reeve ones, that's exactly what they were. 3 of the 4, however many he did. That's exactly what the storyline was. It was the only real good one was the one with General Zod, and I know it's probably blasphemous to Christopher Reeves fans, and I might get you, and I'm sorry, but that's my feelings on the matter. So, you know, I mean, basically, let's look at one of the Supermans. Lois Lane dies, and he throws, a temper tantrum and spins the world around and does the one thing his dad told him not to do. So, I mean,
now hold on. They tell everybody in Star Trek that not to fuck with the Prime Directive, and they do it in pretty much every episode.
Hey, yeah, I get that too. I know that. It's
okay,
just.
But TacheT, is there anything of Christopher Nolan that you absolutely hate?
Not really. I like the Prestige. I like the Batman. Other than, like I said before, Christian Bale sounding like this all the time. It made me hurt when I listened to it. But I do like it. I'm just hoping for this time around, if it happens with Batman and Superman, because Superman, I agree, very light kind of guy, and also kind of a baby, kind of like Spider-Man can be. I'm not hating. But the point being is I hope it's a little bit darker, a little more serious, and I hope they have a little bit of a darker kind of concept. Maybe even they don't like each other a little. It's
right.
like, hey,
well,
Tights, what's up, Tights? I don't like you.
Okay. But, we can generally agree that Christopher Nolan, for DC has made some great, with the redoing Batman has made great films, okay?
For Batman, yes.
Right, okay. But
Superman.
But let's think about it. We all love Joss Whedon. We're not going to deny that. Joss Whedon's a god,
Mhm. Yes.
You can't get, they're not going to allow Joss Whedon to take over everything and, do DC. So, who do you get to kind of godfather everything and try to make it good? With the success of the Batman trilogy, Christopher Nolan is pretty much at the top of the list.
Yeah, and I like Zack Snyder as a director, too. So, I'm very much looking forward to his Star Wars movie. And I think it can be done right. I just think there's ample opportunity for them to screw it up. But, yeah, I think they do have the right 2 people in place right now.
Well, okay. And let's face it, Jonathan Nolan is, not a bad writer. I'd like to remind people he did create a little show called Person of Interest.
Which, by the way, beat out American Idol, so thank you, American populace, for restoring my faith in humanity.
Finally!
It beat American Idol in the ratings last week. I thought that was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. Actually, 3 shows beat American Idol in the ratings. So that's just phenomenal. I'd like to congratulate the American populace on not being as stupid as I thought you were. So,
hey. A perfect world will be when American Idol, finally goes off the air. I'm just saying.
Don't watch it.
Is it?
That and Survivor in the
Fox
same year, and Big Brother.
That's enough singing for no reason.
There's not enough show tunes.
Well, okay.
Lord
anyway,
help us.
Getting back to the Justice League stuff. Really, IGN had a really great article this week about it, and talking about why there should be a Batman Superman movie before the Justice League of America movie comes about. And I think that if for anybody that's actually gone to read the article, it's actually on our website. You can get it off IGN too. It brings up some very, very good points about how to do this right, and it does. It's pretty much copying what Marvel did with all their stuff. First thing being starting small, not having this great big conglomerate of a movie without introducing everybody else. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest mistake DC can make. I think rushing to get the Justice League out in 2015 is a huge mistake.
Well, and here's the thing. On top of the other news happening, Christian Bale has pretty much said that, yes, if the script is good, which it probably will be, he's up for coming back as Batman in a Batman-Superman movie. So, and yes, TacheT, you're going to have to listen to him, talking in a really ridiculous voice. But other than that,
I have
Is it a
flasks
bad thing?
full of dampeners, so I'm good. I'll be
Oh,
fine.
I'd like to point out that the British are actually getting their revenge for the best Bond for years being a Scotsman, because now Batman and Superman are both being portrayed by British actors.
Fair enough. No, I think it would be good if they make it dark enough. You know what I mean? Kind of like their history.
Exactly. I mean, these aren't. That was a lot of the problem with Smallville, is you made it too lighthearted in this Dawson Creek bullshit because you wanted to see him, be a teenager. And look, I think one whiny teenager, Hayden Christensen, as Anakin Skywalker is, good enough for the, nerd world. I mean, my gosh, Sisko's son wasn't even that whiny. Wesley Crusher was never that whiny when he thought he knew everything. Just throw that out there.
Yeah. And which, by the way, if you have never seen Will Wheaton's address to PAX East a couple of years ago, go look it up on YouTube. It's freaking hysterical. It's like an hour long, but oh my God, it's so worth watching. It's the keynote address from the inaugural PAX East.
Well, but anyway, despite, little things here and there, overall, we can generally assume that, with Christian Bale back as Batman, it should be good. And I have no reason to believe that Henry Cavill is not going to be a great Superman.
No, I like Henry Cavill a lot. I thought it was a good choice. I thought it was an unexpected choice, but I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed him in The Tudors as Sir Henry Bandon, the Duke of Suffolk. He's been in a lot of things over the years, and most people don't even realize it was him. But I think he's a very fine young actor, and I think he'll do a great job. And physically, he actually, can actually fit the part, So
right. Well, but here's the other thing too about, again, getting back to starting small. Besides doing a Batman Superman movie, we've already kind of started doing that with other things. I mean, isn't the new show Arrow? Couldn't that be considered starting small? I mean, couldn't we see the guy playing Arrow in a movie? I mean, he really, really has brought. Go ahead.
I know I took a shot and I have an opinion now. Honestly, maybe. I've been watching Arrow, and I'm starting to fade. Maybe it could, though. I know you're hating me right now, but
No, keep with it. No, I can understand. There's a couple episodes where it goes a little
Yeah.
But keep with it, because once you get towards the end, when they bring Manu Bennett in from Spartacus to play Slade Wilson, a.k.a. Deathstroke.
Yep, you got my attention already. Oh, it's there. My attention's there. No, it hasn't. No, it's on its hiatus right now.
No,
I'm up to date. Or did I fall asleep?
So you're actually all the way caught up now?
Yes, I fell asleep on the last episode. I'm so sorry, but it was, I don't know. It started lacking. I'm going to stick with it, though. Don't get me wrong, because I think the character's
I
great.
really liked it since Slade Wilson came in, but should say Manu Bennett's come in. But next year they are talking about expanding some things and going to Bloodhaven, and they say there's not going to be a Nightwing appearance, but that would be freaking stupid if they go to Bloodhaven and don't have a Nightwing appearance. Absolutely, they should. So we'll see what happens. But I'm sorry. The last episode was awesome because, well, spoilers, dear. I mean, come on. Captain Jack plays a villain, and River Song is now the Black Canary's mom.
Well, true.
I mean, that's what Dinah Laurel Lance is. Dinah Laurel, you don't like River Song?
Well, she's cool, but I don't know. I'm still, again, I'm not a huge DC fan, so I'm kind of.
And Paul Blackthorne, who plays Dinah Laurel Lance's father, that's Harry Dresden.
True. No, I like the actors. Don't get me wrong. It's just the characters are what I'm kind of like on, because I'm not the biggest fan. I'm trying to be open-minded, though.
Look, it's CW. It's not going to be completely dark, okay, where you're going to love every character. You're still going to have to deal with some of this teenage, romantic bullshit.
I think that's what kind of problem is.
Right. I like I said, the guy playing Arrow I think is great, but you also have to remember that his last acting role before was the young gigolo in Hung off HBO. So I mean, there's moments where I can see the exact same character. Okay.
Well, but I like Diggle a lot. The guy that plays John Diggle. He's actually on another series concurrently. He's on Blue Bloods. He plays the mayor of New York on Blue Bloods.
Right.
On CBS. So I really like Paul Blackthorne. I really like Captain Jack, obviously. Now the character that I'm annoyed they've kind of ushered off that show is the stepfather, because I forget the actor's name, but he's a British actor. He was in the Pierce Brosnan Bond films. He worked at MI6. He's a very fine actor. He does a wonderful job, and
wasn't he also in Harry Potter?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong on that. Let me look him up. But he just does a great job, and I was very sad to see him, kind of put on hiatus for now. So we'll see what happens, but I hope they bring him back.
But getting back to my original,
part of the story for it, though. But
getting back to my original point, okay, I think having a TV show with this dark tone really does add more to starting small with Justice League of America, okay? And this is something that Marvel hasn't done. They haven't come out with a TV show. I mean, now they are, but that's after having your big movie with all of the Avengers, okay? So, excuse me. The last time that we saw a really good Batman TV series was Batman the Animated Series with Kevin Conroy doing the voice, and it was fantastic, okay?
Right.
And that TV show made me forget the Joel Schumacher Batman movies.
Oh God, yeah, the Rave Club Batman movies.
Right.
By the way, that actor's name is Colin Salmon, and as far as I can tell, no, he was not in Harry Potter.
Okay, well, there's another guy that I'm thinking of, but anyway. But you've already set the stages for with Batman and Superman. I mean, obviously the two people that are going to, be Justice League and everything. Now, the next question is, what do you do with a character like Nightwing? Do you actually make a TV show out of it? Do you do a movie? How do you bring that introduced? Do you actually take Joseph Gordon-Levitt and make him Nightwing, since they pretty much kind of said he was, in a way, at the end of The Dark Knight Rises? Yeah. Okay. I mean, to me, Nightwing is pretty important. Now that you've done something with Green Arrow, you got Batman and Superman and stuff like that. So, what do you guys think about Nightwing in regards to the Justice League movie?
Justice League, Nightwing's always kind of more been the leader of Young Justice than he has been associated with the Justice League, except for when Dick Grayson was actually Robin and then with Batman. So I don't know how DC fans would feel about it. I would like Nightwing in the Justice League because it would be another DC character that I actually like. So I would be more invested in the movie. But whether or not he actually gets in, I don't think he actually would be included. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Well, okay. We bring up Nightwing because we, have interviewed Danny Shepard and his crew with their Kickstarter program, and we're really excited about this. And since we have a medium to, talk about it, we're going to. Here's the other thing. It's been almost 20 years now since anybody tried to do anything with The Flash. They had that TV show that lasted like 13 episodes in one season before it was finally canceled. And Mark Hamill was actually a bad guy for an episode or two in that series. So, I mean, what do you do with The Flash? Do you, again, make a movie? Do you try to do a TV show with it?
I don't know, but somehow they end up. Right now, all I can say is they try and cast Chris Evans as the Flash because he already was the Human Torch. So why not another fast guy that wears red?
Look, he's done good enough as Captain America that he's pretty much made us forget the Human Torch. So
yeah, I know, and I just think it's funny. And now it looks like they're going to redo Fantastic Four because they'll lose the rights and they'll revert back to Marvel if they don't do anything with it. So anyway.
Well, okay. So, and here's another thing you do. David Kelly wanted to bring Wonder Woman back to TV, and they actually shot the pilot with Adrienne Palacki from Friday Night Lights, who's now in the new G.I. Joe movie as Lady Fox. How do you reintroduce somebody like Wonder Woman when we've had, this thing kind of fail? And is Wonder Woman really a worthy character?
I think you kind of have to have one. I mean, TacheT, back me up here. I think you kind of have to have Wonder Woman. She's an iconic DC character, and frankly, the bad publicity you would get from kicking out a female superhero, because there would be groups that would go nuts about this, and they'd be like, well, Marvel had what's her face there, Black Widow. I think it would just cause them more problems than it would solve if they got rid of her.
Yeah, she is definitely one of the biggest icons as far as with that group. And heck, I dressed up like her when I was a little girl. There's pictures somewhere, not letting anybody know. But
well, now we have to know because you mentioned it.
It's only because my
now
parents
we're just gonna bribe your mom.
Oh God, no! Please, she'll do it. But the thing is I think she's a big icon. She really is. She wasn't one of my favorites, but she's very important. And leaving her out would be a very bad idea. And you can find a woman that has the physique, to the enticingness of Wonder Woman and the attitude that she had. I
didn't think Adrienne Palacki was a bad casting choice to play Wonder Woman. I mean, yeah, they couldn't seem to. One of the things they screwed up was, the uniform. But either way, she looked really good. Plus, she's tall. I mean, she's gorgeous.
You need
as an
Amazonic kind woman, though.
Exactly. I think the problem with what the Wonder Woman TV series that failed is it's still David Kelly doing it. So I mean, this is the guy that brought his things like Grey's Anatomy and I think he did Grey's Anatomy. It sounds like something he would do. And then Ally McBeal and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, how do you take a guy like that to actually do a comic book TV series and make it good?
Yeah.
So it's really difficult. I think Wonder Woman would be important, not Batgirl or anything like that.
What to do Wonder Woman? You need a young Lucy Lawless. I mean, that's basically what you need.
Yeah.
Again, I think Adrienne Palacki probably is that choice, but you do. If Christopher Nolan has done anything, he has pretty much reverted us back to the darker tones of these characters and made us realize that they're not happy-go-lucky, strolling along, I can't wait to solve a crime. They all have issues. So not only are they saving the world, but they're dealing with their own issues. Okay? Batman being one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Really
independent,
broken person, a very broken character, I guess.
He's the dark side of good.
Yeah, I mean, and I think because Christian Bale probably is a little bit crazy in real life, that again, here's how I knew that he was actually going to be a really great Batman. The movie he did about the same time Batman Begins came out called The Machinist.
Oh, that was great. I'm sorry. That was a good one.
Yeah. See, I'm actually bringing it up early because it's my pick this week on Netflix. It just ended up on Netflix for streaming.
Got it on DVD. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, again, the guy lost like 70 pounds for this movie, and it is. It ranks right up there with like Memento as just this very like, oh my God. So, again, getting back to these darker characters, and while I think Adrienne Palacki is a great actress and everything, I would still worry about, okay, how are you going to take somebody from Friday Night Lights, put her into this character, and write this very dark tone? I mean, what's the dark tone that you have with Wonder Woman?
Well, does it have to be dark? I mean, she's more kind of like independent, strong woman with a sass. She's not necessarily dark. She just doesn't put up with anything. This is how it is, and she's always been an icon of extremely strong woman.
Yeah, that's called Helen Mirren in Prime Suspect.
There you go. So snag her, put her, get her, to boost the A up, and there we go. Well, maybe somebody younger, but
still looks good though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still, that's the kind of, because that would be the offset, because you got Batman who's dark and sad and broody, and then you have Wonder Woman who's like, screw this, let's get this done, and then you got Superman who's, I'm going to be really nice about this one. This can happen. Right. This cheery. This is good. This can, let's go, team, go, and and I think those three alone would be actually to start out before Justice League comes out, maybe a pre-movie or something small, maybe a mini-series of something to kind of introduce, and then you can start introducing everybody else.
Now, here's the one bad thing. We got to bring this up. Since you're starting small and you're introducing these characters and everything, well, now we have Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds. Do you have him come back as Green Lantern for Justice League of America?
No.
No. That was dumb.
So we're unanimous in this decision. Awesome. If there's ever a time to do a reboot of a movie...
That one, please.
Well, see, I think that'd be great. We don't necessarily do the reboot of Green Lantern. We just put another actor in the movie, and then we just do his own side movie. And just sort of forget. Kind of like they did with Hulk with, Edward Norton. Well, we're going to do this, the Incredible Hulk, and we're going to kind of make you forget that Ang Lee did Hulk.
Yep. That was good.
Which actually it really kind of did. And I don't have to hear Nick Nolte in that movie.
Crouching Tiger hit.
You sound so relieved right now. Thank you.
So I actually just stumbled across a list of 7 actresses who could play Wonder Woman. And some of them are actually pretty good. Taylor Cole from Heroes, The Event, and The Glade. She's known, apparently self-described as 70% legs. Yep.
There you go.
Jamie Alexander, who I guess was in battling alongside Thor. She was the female.
Kyle XY. Yeah. That's where she got her start.
Yeah,
that was actually a really good show.
I'm kind of liking Taylor Cole over her. Lynn Collins from John Carter. Bridget Regan, who apparently was on Legend of the Secret, but I don't really think she can pull it off. Gemma Arterton from Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters this year. Gina Carano from Haywire and Fast 6. And then Morena Baccarin, actually. But I just don't think, as much as I love Morena Baccarin, I don't think she's right for Wonder Woman. I actually really like the first one I said there, Taylor Cole.
Yeah, she's from where I'm living right now, so that's pretty cool. I vote for her. Yay, Wonder Woman, do it.
I would totally go with Lynn Collins. I mean, she's not widely known or anything, but, John Carter was a great film. I don't know why it tanked. I don't know why people didn't respond to it that much, but, I mean, Taylor Kirsch, while he was absolutely horrible in the movie Battleship because that movie was horrible, he was fantastic in John Carter.
Yeah, nobody was good, and Liam Neeson stunk in Battleship.
Yeah.
I think Liam Neeson went through that. I don't know if Liam Neeson's ever gotten high in his life, but I'm pretty sure he was when he signed on for that movie.
Yeah, the outtakes are like, I want every gun loaded. He's smoking a joint.
But no, that's a 16-inch barrel, not a bong.
I'm the Admiral. I can do what I want. Oh, man. But no, I mean, like I said, Lynn Collins, on top of that, she's absolutely gorgeous. And she's a good Texas girl. She was, born in Sugar Land, I think. Actually, yeah, around the same area as Sean Patrick Flannery. A little tidbit of information for everybody out there. So, anyway, segueing back into what we're talking about, do you guys actually think that we should just put, or they should hold off on doing a Justice League movie until they've had more stuff introducing all these characters like Marvel, which could literally... Didn't even finish my question.
It's just a yes.
It's that simple of an answer. Look, over the past 10, 15 years, we have had Marvel do something good, followed by DC hurriedly throw something out, with the exception of the Batman movies, because Nolan said, "This is my baby," and go away. With, DC hurriedly throw something out there just to compete, and it usually sucked. See Brandon Routh.
Brutal tonight.
And I know the guy's coming to Dallas Comic-Con this year, but frankly, I couldn't care less.
Bring your bat.
Dylan Dog sucked too, but
Dylan Dog did not suck as a movie. It was not a great movie, but it did not outright suck.
Let's put it this way: I watched it on Netflix and was sorry I wasted the 2 hours.
Did not completely suck.
Well, we can have differing opinions. It's allowed.
I think you're drunk.
I wasn't even drunk when I watched it, although it might have been better if I had been.
It would have made it better.
Well, at least it would have been more amusing. But look, I just think DC needs to stop reacting to Marvel and just start putting out good features and building on what they have. They have a good, solid start with Batman, although while the end of The Dark Knight Rises was a great way to end that story, it is rather unfortunate for the rest of DC, because now they have to kind of go, well, either all of this stuff happens in continuity before Dark Knight Rises, like after The Dark Knight and before Dark Knight Rises, because if you look at the beginning of Dark Knight Rises, Bruce Wayne's bruised, battered, beaten, and can barely walk. So that would explain a lot if all of the stuff happened, like the Batman Superman movie, any other interactions with any other JLA characters, and the JLA movie all happened in the 5 to 7 years between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. Otherwise, do you just make Dark Knight Rises non-canon, or do you say that this is okay, that's its own separate story, Christian Bale is still playing Batman for continuity's sake, but that was its own separate story, and now we're doing a different timeline? I mean, how do you do that? So,
well, I think they've already explained that. I think it has to be within that 8-year period between, because that's basically what it was like 8 years.
Yeah, I think it has to be, because otherwise it's going to be too much of a leap for the audience.
Right.
I mean, suspension, we've talked about it before. Suspension of disbelief is a wonderful literary tool. It allows you to escape the confines of your normal dreary existence and transport yourself via book, television, or movie to some other place and experience this wonderful story. However, suspension of disbelief only works in that you stay within the rules of the world that you have set for yourself.
Right.
So, all of a sudden, in Star Trek, you can't have guys using the Force because that's Star Wars and it just ain't going to friggin' work. So, they have to, within that, I think they would have to pick up whatever story they were doing right after the end of The Dark Knight. The Joker has just died, and all hell is breaking loose elsewhere, and since he can't even be in Gotham right now because he's on the run, Batman goes to Metropolis to help out Superman.
Well, and here's the other thing, that you have to take a look at is, who do you introduce as bad guys? I mean, do you reintroduce the Joker and Lex Luthor teaming up, okay? And if so, which actually would be kind of cool, but if so, how do you do that? I mean, who do you get to actually even come close to Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker?
Well,
and do you really want Kevin Spacey back as Lex Luthor?
No. Oh.
No.
Yes, you're allowed to say that on this show.
No. No. Harley Quinn. Why not Harley Quinn?
Oh, I would love to see Harley Quinn in a movie. She's one of my favorite characters. She's so adorably
cool.
evil. Who could play her? Honestly, I would love to see Summer Glau play Harley Quinn. I think she would be awesome as Harley Quinn.
Okay.
But
you love her.
Well, that, and we already know she has that very Harley Quinn when she fights, especially in the animated series. There's almost a ballerina quality to it, and we've already seen that style of movement and fighting from Summer Glau in Serenity. So it would be a very believable leap. And we've also, at times on Firefly, saw her be a wise ass, especially when she was talking to Mark Shepard, a.k.a. Basher. So I think that could be a very believable leap for audiences, is to see her as Harley Quinn. As who would play the Joker, I have no idea, but I think you could bring the Joker back because, let's be honest, even in Christopher Nolan's comic book movies are still comic book movies, and people never really die.
Right.
They're guys' versions of really. They're a teenage guy's version of a soap opera. Nobody ever really dies. So, I mean, how many times has Superman died now?
Well, that's the thing about this storyline. I mean, you can have your first storyline in between this 8-year period in the Batman movies, and of course you can also revisit that after and bring Christopher Bale out of retirement and have a segue into Nightwing and all that. So, I mean, there are lots of possibilities. But again, it does come down to what's the cast that you get that's actually going to be very, very faithful. So, looks like we lost you. You were bashing DC Comics,
I know,
apparently.
I said something wrong. Well, DC Comics beat me up.
They rules.
Disconnect me, man.
Yeah,
okay, I love DC Comics. Love you.
Anyway, I mean, there are great possibilities. I think we can all agree with that, okay? And I think they do have the right guy, in my personal opinion, to kind of helm all of this.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, you're right. I mean, I don't disagree with the fact that the Justice League of America movie can wait 5 years. It really can, okay?
Yeah.
And you can start introducing all these other things and fix the stuff that needs to be fixed, Green Lantern, and find
honestly,
ways to...
If you're DC, do you really want to put JLA up against the Avengers 2 in the same year?
Well, you're not going to win anyway, but, I mean, at the same time, I mean, Avengers is going to lose.
Be absolutely embarrassed? I mean, why don't you wait until you're in between? Give yourself some extra time. Build up all the other
Avengers
characters.
Is going to lose. They're going to lose steam anyway at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But my point is, build up. Take the extra couple of years. Build up your products, and then in the lull after Avengers to fill the void.
Right. So, anyway, we got about a minute and a half left on the show. I mean, we'll obviously be talking more about Justice League and stuff, but we actually want to throw that out there as a theme tonight and get feedback. And we would love to hear what you guys have to say. Send us an email, comment in our online community about, the movie and other movies and whatnot. But, I think it's safe to assume that, again, they're going into the right direction, okay, and they're finding someone that can do this, that can do it well. So that's the main thing. Anyway, we will be back tomorrow. We will be talking about our favorite killers on TV and serial killers in movies and stuff, and just kind of. Since Hannibal's coming to NBC and we have the following on Fox and stuff like that, we just thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about who our favorites are and what to look forward to, and hope that you join us as we get a little gruesome on our show.
Yay. I'm excited for that one, actually, because I have a whole list.
I'm sure you do. I do. So, anyway, we're going to wrap this show up. We will be back tomorrow before St. Patrick's weekend, which I'm sure we'll all be drinking on the show tomorrow just to get ready for the weekend like you do. And that'll be great. So, everybody, say goodbye. We are out of here tonight.
Goodbye.
Later, all.